Contestant number 6, please approach the podium. You also have 30 seconds to compose yourself, prepare, organize your thoughts. Once you are ready, just give me the go signal, and your timer will begin. Good luck. Timer starts now.
I am a voice, the voice of the youth. The youth, the hope of the nation. A nation in need of transformation. A transformation effectuated by rediscovering Filipino values. A Filipino proverb says, if you do not know how to look back to where you came from, you will not reach your destination. What makes Juan de la Cruz a Filipino? What values does he hold dear? A person is defined by his values. The Filipino people survived the ravages of time. Savage wars, severe deprivation, unnatural calamities, but remained steadfast, maintained their dignity, kept their faith, and emerged triumphant. Rediscovering these values is the key to transcend mediocrity and open avenues for change. Values are like stars. They guide us to our destiny. We must rediscover them. This is the battle cry of the Filipino youth. Every day we combat the ills of society. It is a sad truth that some juveniles succumb to criminality, leading lives of delinquency. They forgot our core values, without which a nation could not stand, and its people condemned to endless animosity. Let us journey back to our times of greatness, when values and morality were the elixirs of life. People then had the bayanihan spirit. They were concerned with helping each other and acted in conformity with the law, not in fear of punishment, but in observance of what was right. Amid Spanish oppression, they remained value-driven with a high regard for morality. Even when stripped bare, they had values to shield them. It was the one thing not even mighty conquistadors could take from them. They held on to it in the promise that it would grow, manifesting in our generation. This was their dream, their legacy. But what has become of this manifestation? Have we repudiated their legacy of virtuous values? It is our birthright and obligation to uphold and treasure our Filipino values. We must instill them in our minds, engrave them in our hearts. It is inherent in man to seek prosperity and progress. But in his pursuit of the future, he forgot his past. Martin Luther King said, if we are to go forward, we must go back and rediscover those precious values. I shaped my life around this principle, a simple statement that conveys a profound thought, that if shared by all would bind us to a brighter tomorrow. In kindergarten, I was taught the fundamentals of learning, reading, writing, and arithmetic. As I grew, life taught me the fundamentals of living, the 3 R's of Filipino values: resiliency, respectfulness, and religiosity. In resiliency, there is dignity. In respectfulness, honor. In religiosity, hope. And with all 3, we find peace. And peace is what we urgently need. A Filipino is like a bamboo, resilient. It does not break against the wind. Though a grass, it is as strong as an oak tree. Its strength is in its numbers. Each bamboo helps the others dissipate the violence of the wind. Like a Filipino family help each other surpass devastation. The aftermath of Typhoon Kiel and Pedring shows resiliency as pivotal in rebuilding communities and finding solace and strength amidst adversity. In these tough times, we must rediscover resiliency as not only rising above unbeatable odds, but as a value deeply rooted in sharing and hard work. Mano po, an expression, a gesture, a uniquely Filipino tradition exemplifying respect for elders. The Bible commands, obey your parents. This value transforms in society as respect of the law. But what do I see? I see motorists violating traffic rules and regulations with impunity. People cheat and lie without compunction. I see disrespect of law and of man. I see street children pick the pockets of senior citizens who will reach in to find every penny gone. Is this the kind of respect we proclaim to uphold in our lives? Respect. It's not a one-way street. To rediscover it, we should not impose it with a heavy hand, but make it meaningful by earning it. I see parents abusing, exploiting, and neglecting their children, yet demanding respect. I advocate the respect of rights of children to be loved and cared for and fulfill his potentials. Religion pervades all aspects of our lives, from womb to tomb and beyond. We claim to be God-fearing, loving, and prayerful people. But what do I see? I see rising rates of teenage suicide, hopelessness and despair in people battered by financial problems, crimes committed, criminals getting younger, and corruption in public offices. Prayer gives us hope and the confidence that we are not forsaken. Hope gives us happiness that inspires us to live for others and for ourselves. It is not passé to say that the family that prays together stays together. We must rediscover our religiosity. The fear of God is the beginning of conscience, wisdom to know the difference between good and evil, and a conviction to be honest when others are not. Our Filipino values are not passing trends that evolve through time. They are the greatest legacies bestowed upon us by our forebears. World wars fought with blood and bravery attained glory through weaponry. The real battle we face every day is not won by guns, but by a strong conviction and affirmation in our Filipino values. Our communal efforts will pave the way for their rediscovery. Bear in mind that concrete change germinates from the seed of action. I call on the youth to take action. Be courageous and resist temptation. Persevere in the presence of defeat and apathy. Be willing to serve God and country. Stand up for what is right and lead a virtuous life. I have taken action. Every year, I tell impromptu stories to elementary kids during book week. I incorporate good values in my tales. Still, I am but a small voice. I am but one voice. I know I am not alone. Together, we can bring peace and happiness. If we act now, we will live to tell stories of how our generation rediscovered these values and changed life for the better. This is my dream. This is our legacy. And with you beside me, it will come true.